Hey, Rick, we had Ben DeCamp in today, a rising guru. He was actually referred to us by Kyle Morris, which is a phenomenal guru. What was your biggest takeaway on this one, do you think?
Well, first, everybody told him he probably wouldn't sell a home for the first 6 months, and he sold 10 in the first 6 months, which means he got going right away.
That is phenomenal.
That's impressive.
Yep. I think his story in general, I think what he's been through and how he came up and even how he got into the business is very interesting because it's not your normal, hey, I want to go show homes. So.
Yeah, no, I like his personality. He's very calm. He's got a very calm demeanor. He's just a really good guy.
Yep.
But to sell 10 in the first 60 or 6 months is phenomenal.
Yes, it is. So if you are looking for an agent to use, and he is a newer agent, but he knows his stuff and he has a great team and he'll go through it and why his team is so good, definitely listen to this.
Welcome to Indy's Real Estate Gurus, your ultimate guide to the dynamic world of real estate in Indiana. And I'm Rick Ripma, your hardworking mortgage guy, and I've been in real estate and mortgages for over 24 years.
And I'm Ian Arnold, a loan officer on Rick's hardworking mortgage team, and we are both with Advisors Mortgage Group. Together, we'll empower you with expert advice, market trends, and successful stories from guru realtors and local experts.
Whether you're a homeowner, investor, or pro, join us as we navigate the thriving Indy real estate market.
Now get ready to unlock the doors of success, one episode at a time.
Welcome, Ben. It's Ben DeCamp with FC Tucker. Thank you for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, guys.
Now, you actually have some connection with Ian.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I met Ian on the basketball court. Yep. Absolutely.
What's is strange is Kyle Morris, which is your mentor. Mm-hmm. We were playing together, and I kept seeing the shirt, and it clicked in my head. But when you're out there and you're in gym shorts and a T-shirt, let's be honest, you're not looking all proper and everything. So we kept looking at each other. We're like, do we know each other? And then he asked me what I did, and I asked him about real estate, and we're like, you were on our show.
That's crazy. Small world.
Yeah. So let's get into this. I mean, what'd you do before real estate, and then how did you actually decide to do it?
Okay. So before real estate, I was working in a treatment center for folks with substance abuse disorder, and I'm in long-term recovery myself. And so I went back to work in the field to kind of give back, and I don't know, it's kind of what I did when I first got sober, and it was the best job I ever had. I loved it. I loved working with other people, and it was just a really fulfilling job. It gave me a sense of purpose and all that kind of thing, and I got to work with folks when they come into treatment, and I got to work with them when they left and set up an aftercare plan for them, and kind of keep an eye on them and try to help them achieve long-term sobriety. After almost 2 years there, not even 2 years there, I was just kind of burnt out on honestly, like the business aspect of it, that I won't get into too much. But I really loved helping people. And Kyle, who is my sponsor, is how I met Kyle. One day just said, why don't you come work for me in real estate, which hadn't even crossed my mind. And honestly, when he first brought it up, it did not sound appealing to me. I didn't want to do sales stuff. My idea of real estate was kind of what you see on I don't know,
HGTV.
Yeah. Champagne at the closing, and hey, look at me, I'm a realtor, and fancy stuff like that. I don't know. It just I just couldn't see it. And there were a lot of things I didn't want to. I went to real estate class in 2002, and then one of the professors said, well, the way you do this is you call all your friends and all your family, and you call them and you call them and you call them. And so I had that in my mind, and I was like, I'm not going to do this. And I didn't have an in. I didn't have a team or anything. I was just by myself going, how am I going to figure this out? But that was my idea of what it would take to sell a home. And I told Kyle, I was like, I'm not cold calling people, and I'm not going to bother all my friends and family. I have no interest in doing that. And Kyle's like, well, good, because I wanted to ask you to. Like, we'll be doing 0 of that. And but the last part was like the good feelings I was getting from my job. Like, I mean, I felt good about coming to work every day, and the purpose that I had working in a treatment center. And I didn't want that to go away. I've had other jobs where I didn't have that for a lot of my life. So I don't know. I kind of talked through that with Kyle, and he's like, yeah, but you get to live your life in real estate, and you still get to give back plenty. And I, as my sponsor and somebody who, I look at Kyle as the guy who saved my life. That wasn't hard to see that he's super active in the community, in the recovery community especially. And he does. Like, I was kind of saying, okay, well, the job does give him the freedom to do that. And not only that, like, just, the idea that, like, helping somebody find a home is a pretty big deal. And I think I greatly underestimated how good that would feel to help folks in that way. So, I don't know, I just took it as a leap of faith, like, hey, this guy saved my life, he's got me this far, and I knew the reputation of the team was, incredible. So I was like, man, this is really an honor that I was even asked, so just shut up and do it. So.
Yeah. I will say, though, it's one of those things is you don't realize the impact it can have on somebody. Rick and I have had this discussion is we get done with a closing or whatnot, and we get a phone call or walk out to somebody's car, and they're like crying. And they're like, what are you talking about? Why are you crying? You just closing your home. But they just never thought they would be able to own their own home. I mean,
the harder part for me was for me not to cry. Those first, even now. Yeah. But those first couple, my first client, my first several clients actually were people I met that were in recovery themselves, and they were buying their first home after putting their life back together for a couple years. And we're both just crying like that. And it was very similar to working in the treatment center where you're helping somebody get back on their feet. And so, yeah, like right off the bat, there were some really good, feelings coming my way, and the pay's better than working in the other field. So, yeah.
It's pretty big. I mean, obviously a house is a huge deal, and when somebody's able to do that, especially coming through those situations, I mean, it's already big, but that has to be really emotional.
Absolutely. And and obviously we work with everybody. It doesn't have to be necessarily somebody in recovery, but those, coming into the spring market, my introduction was, late April, early May, and I'm working with some buyers that don't have, a ton saved. I mean, we're doing down payment assistance and stuff like that for their first home, and all the homes are going over listing price with appraisal gap coverage and all that stuff, and we're just going, oh man, like this this is tough. And I think my first client, we looked at, close to 100 homes.
Wow.
It was a ton. I don't know. It was a lot. Yeah. And we were getting beat. We'd write our best offer time after time again, and so like real quickly, it's like the role of a therapist, like and thankfully working with folks like that, like some of the concepts of recovery were, faith and acceptance and patience and all these things, and we could have really good conversations about like, hey, we're gonna get there. This house wasn't the one. I know you really wanted it, but we're going to get something better. And I would say that so many times and just go home like, I hope it's true. I hope I didn't lie to them. And I didn't. Kyle would tell me that. I was really leaning on him. He's like, we're going to find her a great house. Don't worry. Yeah. And at the end of the day, I know there were some really tough conversations about the perfect home that got away, but they ended up in a much better home that they love.
And the funny thing is when you have those conversations, it seems daunting then, but afterwards, people forget about those other homes.
Right.
It's just like, oh, we got this one? Awesome. And that becomes their perfect home.
And it's happened time and time again now since I started doing this.
Yes. We saw that a lot with first-time home buyers during COVID.
Yeah.
I mean, when people were asking $50,000, $60,000 over asking price, guess what? First-time home buyers do not have that money.
Right.
So same thing you were dealing with, and you're probably going through that same type of time frame. It's just like, but now what we're starting to see is we do a lot of first-time home buyers because the market, it's still busy, but it's not, people aren't throwing money at homes.
Right. And I mean, just like anything else, I didn't realize what a process it was. Like, we just have to work at it. Like, that buyer was tenacious. She was looking at everything, and we were going, the second something hit the market, she knew about it before me a lot of times, and we were off and we were going, and it took a lot of work to get that home, but she got a perfect, it's just a great place, and it's far better than the one she wanted a month prior. That was like, no, that was the perfect one.
Right.
And
it always works out that way.
Yeah.
It just does. With first-time home buyers, I was listening to a seminar the other day, and they were saying, it was actually Freddie Mac was putting it on, and they said that they did a survey, and it's almost 100% of first-time home buyers don't realize they can get by with less than 20% down.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that, Freddie Mac is 3% down on a first-time home buyer if you're not earning too much income. It's like there's great options out there, but people don't get it. They don't know that.
Yeah, I've worked with very few people that put 20% down.
Yeah. Well, not only that is now you got Indiana House. You have Indiana Housing.
Mm-hmm.
So they'll help you with down payment assistance,
Right.
especially for people that look. If you're just sitting in an apartment, all right. Well, now the government's going to help you purchase a home.
Right.
Okay. Now you got to go through some couple little hoops. Don't get me wrong, but they're not hard hoops.
Right.
So what do you think your biggest, the biggest misconception when you first got into real estate? And compared to the reality check?
Again, a lot of it was that I was going to be cold calling and I know there's people that have great success doing that. So I'm not knocking that. I'm just not the person for it. Whatever it is, I thought it was going to be a lot more salesman stuff, like calling people and waking them up like, hey, have you thought about buying a home? Like, what can I do to put you in a new home today? All that kind of thing. And there was none of that. That was the way I was taught anyway by Kyle, was just to get out in the community, let people know what you do. We don't have to beat them over the head, but we basically just do some Facebook posts and then just go about our lives, continuing to help people and making connections. And some of the work was just to not be at home, just be anywhere else, be involved with other people in some kind of way, and just kind of having faith that, we keep doing the next right thing and it would pay off. And I was really surprised. People told me what I was prepared for was to not sell a house for 6 months. And that was the expectation that I was told. You're a new agent. Nobody knows who you are. It's going to be, probably 6 months of no sales. And by the time I hit 6 months, I'd sold 10 homes. I had this great start. Not to say that it's easy, but I think I got very lucky and very fortunate. And I started on a great team, first of all. Kyle sent me a couple of buyers, and I worked with them, and it just kind of snowballed.
Yeah. Plus, it sounds like he taught you the right things.
He did, absolutely.
I think one other thing is he showed you got to put work in. So the other day, I'm sitting on Facebook and I happened to see a post from you guys. Mm-hmm. You guys are pressure washing a customer's house, or was it the driveway or the house?
It was the driveway and patio, and cleaned some carpets, and yeah.
So you're not cold calling, but you're still putting the work in.
Yeah, we're putting in work in a different way, and people like it. It gives us more time with our clients. First of all, when we're over there, whether painting or tearing out vanities, and that was actually one of the really appealing things about the team and the way Kyle approaches this. When I first got sober, I was helping people move. I thought that was part of like a recovery plan, like to like help people move and work on houses. But it just happened my sponsor was in the real estate business, and he would take me to houses and we'd do all kinds of stuff, and we'd have fun doing it. Get a group of guys together and start mulching or tearing down trees and stuff like that. And there's a lot more hands-on than I expected, and probably a lot more hands-on than a lot of people, but that's just, it's just Kyle and how he likes to work.
Yeah. So if somebody's listening to this and they hear how hard you work for them and they want to contact you, whether they're buying, selling, or anything like that, what's the best way they can get in touch with you?
Just call my phone, 317-417-1104.
And what's that one more time?
317-417-1104.
And can they text that number too?
Absolutely.
Yep.
And to get a hold of Ian or I, go to hardworkingmortgageguys.com. That's hardworkingmortgageguys.com. Or you can give us a call at 317-672-1938. That's 317-672-1938. Can't text that number, only call.
All right. So we're going to take a side step.
Okay.
Let's get to know you a little bit more.
Okay.
All right. So if I take away your phone, you cannot work. Somebody else will take care of your customers. Don't worry.
Okay.
But what do you catch you doing for fun?
Oh, if I just have the freedom to do whatever I want,
Yep.
I'm traveling. I love to travel, and right now I'm training for a marathon. So I'm usually out on the Monon Trail is usually where you'll find me. I live in Broad Ripple, right off the Monon. I got a kayak, so I'll get out on the White River, but I'm training for a San Francisco marathon. I got a group of about 5 guys.
Wow.
Coming with me. We got an Airbnb out there. We're going to stay for a week and cap it off with a 26-mile run, which sounds crazy. I've never done that before, but
Okay. Just so you know, I used to run.
Okay.
So, but I ran through high school, and then I continued, and then I gave it up because I wasn't devoted to keep training.
Yeah.
So what did you run prior, or?
In my 20s, I did. I ran a couple of half marathons, several. But it was just part of my new life in recovery was, like kind of the prayer and meditation thing. I would go out for these long walks on the Monon. But honestly, we were talking before the podcast, like I love to eat, I realized that. So, one of the things I do a lot, I go out to eat probably 4 or 5 nights a week at least, probably more than that, honestly. I got to run just to keep that off. I'm 43 years old and I don't have the metabolism I used to. So part of it's just the discipline of, trying to stay in shape.
But 26 miles, that's for most people, it's kind of interesting when you tell somebody you run 26 miles. People think, oh, well, that seems far. Now go drive it in your car and tell me that seems far. Because it is extremely far.
Yeah.
So why that?
I reserve the right to stop and walk if I if I have to. I don't, it's just the next thing. The same guys that are going to San Francisco, we've done half marathons in Indianapolis and Zionsville, and we're like, well, where do you go next? So, and honestly, the real story is, before I really understood what recovery was, I signed up for that marathon, that San Francisco marathon, and I was like, well, this will keep me on the straight and narrow. This will keep me sober. And it didn't work, right? That's because that's not a recovery plan. Yep. And I never made it to that marathon. And so now, 3 years, the marathon popped up on my feed, and I was like, well, that'd be cool to do. So I'm taking one of the guys that I sponsor and a couple of the guys in recovery with me, and we're gonna do it together. And so it's kind of a special thing for me.
That's awesome, because that'd be a good bookend mark to it,
Absolutely.
Have you ever done the Indy Mini?
The 500.
Yep.
Oh, that's my favorite. Yep. It's crazy.
And most people don't, because you get to run on the track.
Yeah.
It's so cool. And then you watch people stop, they'll kiss the brakes, stuff like that.
It's cool. And we're doing that again. Kyle's actually doing that. We got him out there this year, and probably 4 or 5 others. But there's thousands of people cheering you on the whole way. Yeah. It's an event.
It is.
It's wild.
Yep. My knees don't handle that pavement too much anymore.
I don't know how much longer I got either, but
hey, you got at least until San Francisco.
Yeah, that might be. We might retire then. I don't know. Who knows?
So is there a lot of in San Francisco? I'm guessing that there's a lot of elevation, right?
Yeah, I didn't think that through really, but I got a guy. Once I signed up for it, one of my friends is a running coach. He's like, yeah, that's one of the tougher ones because of the hills. So I think I need to get out to Fort Bend and start doing some hill training once it gets a little warmer.
Or what is it? Spring Mill.
Yeah, Holiday Park.
Yep, Holiday Park has a bunch of those hills.
Well, that's in my neck of the woods, so I can do that.
Yeah. I used to run for a group, and we used to go through there and everything. Yeah, that'll get your calves burning.
Yeah, I bet. Well, we're getting there. So it's warm. It's starting to get nice enough I can run outside again. So.
Yes. So getting back on the real estate part, Rick has a famous question he likes to ask.
Before I ask that, though, I gotta know. There's something I have to know. So were you schooling him when you were playing ball? Because he tells me how he schools everybody.
We were on the same team, I believe. And I think we were both schooling equally.
Yeah. Oh, were you? Okay. So you weren't. Okay.
But he can play.
He can play?
Yeah, I can vouch for him. He can play.
Thank you.
That's all I hear about how great he is at basketball. So I just wondered.
Well, I told you, he can come out and play.
I can't play basketball. Do I look like a basketball player?
Yeah.
You're tall.
I'm tall.
Isn't that all the description nowadays?
Yeah, I'm tall. I can't jump. I can't run. I'm old. I mean, what do you want me to do?
Hey, there's a guy named Jokic in the league. He doesn't do any of that, and yet he dominates.
How tall is he?
He's
tall.
6'10", probably.
And he dominates?
Oh,
He can't jump?
he's European. He dominates.
And he can't jump?
Nope. But passes and shoots like no
I
other.
guess Larry Bird was that way,
Yep.
they say. Yeah. So I'll go back to my favorite question, since I now know maybe he can play. And you may just be kissing up to him. I don't know. Okay.
I'll give you $10. Hold on.
So what would you say your superpowers are?
Honestly, my superpowers are my recovery and my faith. My faith in the program that I work. It kind of takes me through every aspect of my life, whether it's professionally or personally. I mean, with real estate, I don't get caught up in chasing down numbers or trying to, I have no real. I don't need to be like the number one salesman in the office. I'm not chasing like a certain number of sales per year or anything like that. I just have unshakable faith that it's going to work out and that it has worked out, and that I just keep doing the things that I'm doing, and I'll be fine. I'm one of the happiest people I know. You know what I mean? Like I just. Like when people talk a lot about goals and stuff, like that's my goal, is to be able to say that every single year. That I'm one of the happiest people I know. And that's a direct result of, my faith in my higher power, and my faith in, the concepts of, recovery, the, acceptance and tolerance and compassion, honesty and patience, all those things. That's turned into a whole new way of life for me. And 100% that's my superpower.
Yeah, I was watching because you were talking about being happy. I was watching a show the other night, and I guess in Finland, the Finland people are considered the happiest people on earth. And
interesting.
He was a traveler. He was doing a travel show. He hates to travel. I don't know what the show's called. But the guy hates to travel, but he travels, and he doesn't like the cold. But it's cold there and everything else. But everybody he talked to, I mean, they were all very happy. I mean, even when they got in a ice bucket or a lake full of ice and swam. I mean, it's like that's nuts. But it's amazing how it's all happiness. A lot is just how you view the world. And
to me, and it's just being completely grounded in gratitude. That's how I wake up every day. I mean, for the past 3 years, I do a gratitude list every day. And there's just so much I'm grateful for. My life's so amazing now. And I see, I don't know, compared to where I came from to where I am now is night and day, and it's incredible. So if I start getting caught up in like wanting to beat this guy in sales or wanting to hit this number or whatever, things can get sideways and I can lose track of what's important. But when I wake up and I view life as like I'm just a regular guy trying to stay sober today and live my life, like things are pretty good.
Yeah.
And
in sales, everybody's always, it's a competition. A lot of people see it that way, but I agree with you. I've never worried about anybody else. You worry about yourself, right? You do what you can. And really it's all about, like you said, it's all about helping people.
Yeah.
That's what we do, even in mortgages.
Be useful. Go help people, and the rest will work out the way it's supposed to.
Yeah.
I mean, I spend zero time. I'm sorry. I spend almost zero time worrying about it. On my bad days, it's where I'm like, ooh, you really need to, sell 30 houses next year. Yeah. But then that's where I rely on the faith part. Like, what, none of that matters. You'll be fine.
Yeah, I think you're missing out on one of your superpowers. So next time you ask this, it's you can help people no matter what situations they've been in. So you're not judging them for whatever has happened in the past. And you're willing to overlook that. All right, let's see. This is the start of a new race. Yeah. Let's get you over these hurdles, get you to the finish line.
Yeah. So. I mean, that's true. That's it. And we work with tons of people inside of recovery, outside of recovery. Everybody knows somebody that's struggling with something. One of the shirts we had made last year said, everybody's recovering from something, which that was our Morris Property Group Recovery Month shirt, which we actually stole that slogan, I believe, from Recovery.
No, you didn't.
Sorry,
no, you
Adam.
didn't.
Sorry, I got Adam. Adam will call me out on that. But it's true, and we get a lot of phone calls from people, whether there's, we help their dad or we help their uncle, and, their son, their daughter, but they have a relative who's, a normal person, and they reach out to us for to help them buy a house. So, I mean, it works out all sorts of different ways.
Yeah, it's amazing how I've learned in life, like you were talking, that just let it work out.
Yeah,
it all works out. And it's so hard to let it work out and not get upset.
And that's how all of us who have done this recovery thing, it's how we've stayed sober, is realizing like the more we tried to do things our way, the more of a mess we made. And just to kind of like take our hands off the wheel, you know what I mean? And like, I think it's a great practice in real estate. When I'm working with a client who is in recovery, they get it, and it's really easy. It's easier to have those conversations when they didn't get the house they thought they wanted, or they're getting outbid. Because like at the end of the day, like we can bring our best offer, write our absolute best offer, and then just prayers up, see what happens, and keep going and moving on to the next one. When folks get really hung up, like, no, that was the one. Like, well, it's gone. It wasn't the one,
right?
Yeah. So like the more we can just kind of practice the faith, like we're going to get you a house, and it's going to be a good house. Yeah. I look back, since I started, I just did this the other day because I was doing taxes and I had to go through all my sales, in every house that I'm really proud of every house that I've sold, every single one of them. There's not. I mean, I've sold houses ranging from 120 or 110,000 to 7. And they're all great houses, and I'm really happy for every one of my clients. We didn't rush somebody into a bad situation because it was a difficult market. Whether it was the 60th house we looked at, I mean, I'd tell them like, this house, we can do better. Let's keep looking, and getting people to kind of trust. Like, okay, the one that we're closing on next week, I really had to talk a guy out of a house that I thought was a disaster. And he waited an extra week and a half. He trusted me, and we got him a great house that we're closing on. And they realized that what they thought they wanted wasn't really what they needed.
When you get impatient. Mm-hmm. That's part of the.
I think you get fatigued.
Yes, you do that.
And you're just like, just write an offer on this one. It's good enough. It'll do. And I think that's where they were at. They had worked with an agent before coming to me, and they were tired. And so the offer that I talked them out of, like, I did not feel comfortable with that house. And I finally kind of, at the end of the day, if you want me to write an offer, I'll write an offer. But I really kind of started urging them a little stronger. Like, let's keep looking just a little bit longer. But that was really it. They were settling, and they were fatigued, and they just didn't think they could do any better. But I knew better.
Well, it's hard. Mm-hmm. When I used to sell new homes, and we went to Dallas, I think, for a big convention. And one of the tours, they took us out, and we went through a bunch of houses, right? A bunch of new builders. It shocked me how quickly everything ran together. Mm. It's hard to keep track of all these different houses that you look at. Yeah. And I don't know, you get, unless you're somebody who just loves to go out and look at houses, which I've known people, they could probably go out and look at houses every day and they love it. A lot of them become real estate agents. Yeah. But to me, that would wear me out.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, I don't know. There's just a feel for, you just know. I mean, there's 9 times out of 10, you just walk and you just know this isn't the house. Yeah. From you know what they want, and you know the price range. If you're looking that much, like you're like, okay, I've seen better than this at $300,000 or whatever it is. But yeah, that first client, when we finally got her a house, before I got to the showing first, and before she even walked in the door, I was writing up an offer. Like, I just knew, I was like, this is a good house. Like, we have to get this one. And that was the one. I'm not saying I'm some real estate genius on that, but just, you see enough of them, like, you just know where you need to be. And hopefully when you're with someone that long, like, you know what they want. Right. By the time you've seen like 10 houses or 15 houses, like, you know what they want and what they don't.
Yep. You also get that feeling. And my wife, when I asked my wife to marry me when I was shopping for rings, we didn't talk about it prior. Right. It was, so
she was still shopping.
Yeah, she was.
Yeah.
But I went and looked, and she goes, "So how did you choose it?" I go, "I looked at tons of them. None of them else felt." And then I saw that one. I was like, "That one looks right." Yeah. And the same thing with your home shopping.
It really is. And I hope that never goes away. But like I said, looking back on everything I sold, there wasn't one offer that we finally submitted that I didn't have a really good feeling about, where I wasn't like super excited to get an offer accepted. It's like, this is a great home. Like, I hope we get this one. So I hope that feeling never goes away, because you're right. Like you walk into some of them, there's just a mood to it. You're like, man, this isn't the house, you know? Yeah.
There's a dead squirrel in the back porch. All right, we're done. Let's go.
Yeah.
Bad omen. All right. So somebody's listening to you right now, and they're like, man, I got to work with him. So what's the best way they get in contact with you?
Just call or text 317-417-1104.
And that number again is
317-417-1104.
all right.
That's a pretty easy number.
It is.
Yeah.
That's a pretty easy number.
I think
Did you
so.
pick it out on purpose
Nope.
or just lucky?
Luck of the draw.
Luck of the draw. And to get a hold of Ian or I, go to hardworkingmortgageguys.com. That's hardworkingmortgageguys.com. I did pick that out purposely. Yeah, or give us a call at 317-672-1938. That's 317-672-1938.
All right. So now I got another good question.
Okay.
So we always do the question of the week. What was your first car?
My first car was an 85 Cutlass Sierra. It's my grandmother's car. It was a tank. It was a good car.
How long did it last?
It lasted a little while. I got into a head-on collision with it. But they built them differently back then. I wasn't even. It didn't even.
You just plowed through the other car and kept driving.
I didn't have a scratch on me. Yeah.
So, what's your favorite car? Do you know?
This might be controversial. I like the OJ Bronco, like the 90s Bronco, not the white one though, but like the navy blue Eddie Bauer edition. I love those.
Yeah. They're popular.
Yeah, they've made a comeback.
Broncos are popular.
Yeah. So I might have to try to find a.
Yeah.
I don't like they did the redesign and they got the new Bronco.
Nah, not a fan.
No, it looks like they're like, let's make it into a Jeep, but an SUV. And I'm like, this looks horrendous.
It's small.
Yeah.
But the Jimmy, I'm excited to see this Jimmy that's coming out because it looks bigger and whatever. But they, I don't know. I have a friend in the car business. He said just stay away from some of these new reissues until they work the bugs out of them. But
you don't have to worry about that so much with like Toyota.
Yeah.
But with the American cars, I don't know whether we really need to worry about it or whether it's ingrained in us.
I drive a Lexus with 210,000 miles and just change the oil and it just goes.
It's amazing. Isn't it?
You can't. You don't have to worry about selling me. I'm a Toyota fan. So, so you mentioned a little earlier about your social media. So what do you use, and then how do you use it?
I use Facebook, and it's linked to my Instagram account. I don't spend any time on Instagram. I probably should. It seems like everyone says I'm an old man when I say I just do Facebook. I don't do TikTok, but I have an account. Maybe I'll start dabbling in that. We mainly use it for coming soon posts, open house posts, listings, obviously. And then just us messing around and, working when we're working on the houses together, when we're stopping and having tacos. Our group, our team, for whatever reason, we love tacos because they're delicious. But we made a tour last summer. We just went to a different taco joint every week and tried to bring our friends with us. And we'd post what we were doing out, just out in the world.
So where's your favorite place for tacos?
Oh, my. I love the people that own these places. So it's like I won't do a number one. I'll do like a 1 through 4, which is Chris's Ice Cream has some of the best tacos on 86 in Westfield, which I didn't try for years because it's just called Chris's Ice Cream. I didn't even know they had tacos, but they're great. Paco's Tacos on Keystone. Julietta's downtown in the Stutz building's really spectacular. And my friend Levi Kinney has a place on in the Sun King Brewery test kitchen called Gordito's Rust Belt Tacos, and they're as good as anything you'll ever have. So,
well, that's a good endorsement, right there. And none of those are in Broad Ripple.
What's in Chris's Tacos or Chris's Ice Cream is close.
To it.
It's close to me. It's on Westfield Boulevard, but yeah, you're right. Yeah, somebody needs to come down to Broad Ripple and open up a joint.
So when you were driving down the street and you said, "Oh, there's Chris's Ice Cream. I think I'll go have a taco." Is that?
No, I didn't. I didn't do that for many years for that reason. But somebody I respect their opinion on food said, "Oh, you got to go to Chris's. It's the best," and it's up there. And again, like the owner's one of the just super nice guy. He'll come out and talk to you, and the ice cream's really good too. So
it's just funny that it's an ice cream place.
I know.
That does tacos.
I think they're trying to keep it secret. They don't want everyone to know how great their tacos are. So they just
That's not a good thing for a business to do.
Hold on. Yeah. But they do mostly ice cream, and they dabble in the taco stuff.
I guess.
If the tacos are that good.
Maybe somebody should talk to him about his marketing. Get him in here one day.
Yeah. Get him in here.
I know a guy who can sell him a building.
Right.
Now, on the social media, one of the things we had an agent in a long time ago, but she really was a social media expert, and she actually started a social media company that she works with real estate agents. And one of the things she said is, if you're happy with Facebook, do Facebook. Don't do the other.
Okay.
But she said, get your same, what do they call that?
Hashtag
or whatever for all of the different
usernames,
even whether you're using them or not, all of the different social medias. Because if somebody gets it and they get yours, and then they start posting things, people think it's you.
Oh.
So it makes total sense.
Right.
So what she'd say is, if whatever you have on Facebook, whatever you're using, go to TikTok, go to Instagram, go to all the others and get that call sign,
handle,
whatever.
Okay.
He's my social media. He's not good at it either, but he's better than me.
So what is your handle?
On Facebook?
On you said
it's probably
your
just his name, right?
Yeah, it's just my name.
It's just your name.
I get confused with. That's why I don't like Instagram. I can't find anybody. They don't use their real names, or they'll use their middle name and some.
Well, the issue is we name all of our kids John Smith, and there's 50 million John Smiths.
Right.
No, we don't.
Yes, all your kids are called John Smith.
One of them is John Smith. In fact, none of them are John or Smith, to be quite honest.
Well, there are on Instagram. There's 15 Bethanies, and I don't know which one's which.
The right Bethany.
Yeah, until I have to go look at the pictures, and I'm not going to do all that sometimes. So I don't know. I'm old school. I just keep it to Facebook. At least I'm not on MySpace. I'm somewhat.
Is that still even? I don't know. I know it was huge. Right when I got into college, that was huge, and then Facebook really took off. But yeah, you never heard anything once Facebook basically took off.
I don't hear anyone telling me we should be marketing on MySpace now.
Well, that could be your niche.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, nobody's on there, so you can own that.
Can't hurt.
You can own it because nobody's on it.
So I'll ask my good question. So we all get into new jobs. We all make mistakes.
Yeah.
What is one mistake you made? Somebody listen to this. Be like, ooh, I better watch out for that.
There's a couple. Nothing major. I got the address wrong on one of my purchase agreements. That wasn't fun. Just, I don't know. It was Unit 3 and I wrote Unit 5 because we also wrote an offer on that unit as well. So that wasn't fun. I had to do an amendment and hey, sorry, I got the address wrong. And no bad experiences. End of the day, tiny mistakes here and there. I mean, a lot of it was, I didn't know. I got my license. I went through the training, but until you're out showing homes, there's a whole lot of, let me find that answer for you and get back to you later, which is a not comfortable place to be, whether it's open houses or showings. It takes, a lot of trial and error and giving out, and trying to find the right information.
Hey, don't feel bad about the address thing. We had one. I asked her the same question. She goes, "Yeah, we went. There was 2 houses in the same neighborhood. We went to the wrong house and showed the wrong house."
That's great.
So you're not the first. You won't be the last.
When you're, when in the spring and summer market, when you're just seeing all these, that's probably the hardest part of the job was keeping it all together. Especially, I had 2 clients in the same price range in the same area. Did I show that to Brian or did I show that? When you're, one of the things I learned too, and Kyle helped with this, was at some point you just don't show somebody more than 4 or 5 houses in a day. It gets overwhelming for them.
Yeah.
And they can't even digest it. So we had days early on where 6 to 8 houses for a client in a day, and it was a lot.
Yeah,
and,
it's too much.
Yeah, I was watching a documentary. They were talking about the way the human mind works, and people after 3 cannot make a decision.
Oh,
You can make an easy decision up to 3 to a point, and then after that, you
just start shutting down. Yeah.
And then if they're still having to guess, here's the trick: take a coin, flip it in the air, and say heads is this house, or tails is this one. They will tell you why the coin's in air, which house they want. Right. It's the craziest thing, but it's just the way
That's interesting.
Their mind works, because as soon as that coin goes in the air, they're like, wait, this one has the things I don't want.
Yeah.
And it just hits them. The mind is a crazy thing to start to study.
That's really interesting. I believe that too. Yeah.
What I did, well, when I was in new home sales, one of the things they did in our sales meeting is they gave a menu out for lunch. They said, we're going to provide lunch. But at half the room, they gave a menu with like hamburger, hot dog, chicken. The other half, they gave this huge menu with all this stuff. Everybody who had the hamburger, hot dog, or chicken had already picked out their meal by the time the people who had all kinds of choices, because it's very difficult. So I took my son, he was probably 8 or 9, he wanted to buy a watch. Took him to Target, and I could tell the person was never going to help him. They had too many watches. So I did kind of what you said. But I made it, okay, you like this watch and this watch. Of those two, which one do you like? You can do the same thing with houses. Okay, you like that one. Okay, forget about this one. Then we go look at another house. Which of these two do you like better? And that way they don't have more than 3 ever. And then they can pick out. They can pick something out.
Makes sense. Because then they're going, well, I want that one with the yard from that one and the basement of that one. Like, well, that's not an option.
Are you sure?
You're a heck of a negotiator if you can do that.
Do you sell 2 homes that way if you do it that way? I don't know how this works.
Not like 3. All you got to do is make an offer on all 3 houses. Buy them all.
Right.
There you go. You can have all that.
Absolutely.
All right. So what is your ultimate, if I had to lay you down and tell you, all right, you can have your fantasy dream now that you're in real estate, what would be your ultimate dream?
In real estate?
Yeah.
Or life in general? Like
real estate.
In real estate? To stay on this team, to keep this team intact for as long as I'm doing it, honestly, I don't see wanting to do this on my own. I don't see wanting to ever start my own team. Like I want to work with the guys I'm working with now. And I have nothing but faith. Like we keep doing that and like everything's gonna be great. I don't have, lofty, I need to sell 100 million. You know what I mean? That'd be fun. Maybe not. I don't know. I also have a great quality of life and balance and stuff like that too. So, my dream would just 20 years from now, however long I'm working, to be working with the guys I'm working now.
No, I mean that right there speaks volume of your team. Mm-hmm. I mean, let's be honest. We go to work sometimes, and we got certain co-workers.
He never comes in, so I don't know what he's talking about. He can't be talking about me. He never comes in.
I've done it. I mean, life's too short to be going to work every day and not enjoying the people you're working with.
Yep. But that just speaks volume of your team, and I just wanted to point that out.
Absolutely. They're amazing. I'm truly blessed and humbled to be a part of it.
Yeah, teams matter. The people you work with matter.
I couldn't imagine doing it by myself.
It matters greatly. There's what's I going to see? This is what happens when you get old, and I can't remember what I was going to say. It's just I'd cut that out, but it's too far into the show to cut that out. So
that's all right. The listeners are used to that.
Isn't that terrible? I don't remember what I was going to ask.
I'm the king of that, so don't worry.
Yeah.
So what would you say your typical day looks like? Do you think?
So my typical day, I get up and I typically hit the Monon Trail for a couple miles, or probably 2 to 8 mile run. Most day, if it's an off day, I'll at least just go walk down to the coffee shop, collect my thoughts, make my morning phone calls, check my emails. Sometimes I'm in the office, sometimes I'm not. Then I usually check in with Kyle and see if I don't have showings or inspections or something like that. I'll just see if I can help out with one of the guys with one of their properties or something like that. And then I'm just super involved in recovery. I do my recovery meetings. I sponsor a ton of guys. I'm checking in with them and helping out in that capacity. But honestly, every day's a little bit different, which is the cool part about this. And that's what Kyle really pitched, was like, just go live your life and the real estate stuff will happen. And, in the summertime, I got a pool over there, and I'll be sitting by the pool, and then a buyer calls, and I'm hopping up and I'm running to go show houses.
Hopefully you get professionally dressed, right?
Yeah, oh, absolutely. And but yeah, that was the so I'm out just kind of doing whatever, and then the phone rings and hey, change of plans. I'm off to show some houses.
You forgot about the taco stands, but that's
yeah,
all right.
and the tacos are in. I thought that was a given at this point. Have lunch with some friends somewhere, and yeah,
All right, so I'm gonna ask this one last time. So somebody's out there listening, and they want to get in touch with you, buying, selling, eating tacos. Maybe they have questions about a run or sponsorship. What's the best way they can reach you?
317-417-1104. Call or text.
And to get a hold of Ian or I, go to hardworkingmortgageguys.com. That's hardworkingmortgageguys.com. Or you give us a call at 317-672-1938. It's 317-672-1938. And please follow us for more Indy's Real Estate Gurus.
And reminder, if you have any friends, family, coworkers looking to buy, sell, refinance, let us know. We'll be more than happy to help you. Hey, Ben, thank you for joining us. It's been a pleasure having you on.
It's been great. Thank you guys for having me. I really appreciate it.
Branch NMLS number 33041. Ripma's NMLS number 664589. Arnold NMLS number is 1995469. Equal housing opportunity. Some restrictions apply.